Everything's put back together. Let's see if this thing works. Good. We'll wait 5 seconds. One beep. There, easy peasy. Okay, so I gathered some stuff for the project. I have the magnetic switch, the TR7, which has been programmed to feature 15 or mode 15 with two inputs as the trigger for a 6-second output. Got electrical tape, scissors for electrical tape, got a relay, got this thing, some wire, some splicing connectors, some regular connectors with some heat shrink tubing, just in case I need any of this stuff. Again, the back is open, the trim is off. We have to do this up because with my platform and drawer and table, I'm unable to close the door. So try to maintain orientation here. This is the B9 cable that I took out of here, and this is the B8 connector that I took out of here. The B8 is blue. Took both of these out, and on the B8 connector, looking at it, starting at the top left, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that should be a blue wire with a little thin red line, and that is your constant on 12 volt line. And you also need B3, 1, 2, 3, which is this big thick white wire with a black line. That is your ground. From the B9 connector, you need B9 pin 5 and pin 19. So starting again from the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll see that this is a purple wire with a thin yellow line on it right there. And you'll also need 19, and so 19 ends up being just to on the bottom row, just to the left of this little notch. So this one right here. And so that one is a light green wire with a black line. So you can see that. So those are the two that we'll be splicing into on the B9 connector. This has already been removed. I think when I bought this used, they had told me they had to replace the rear window motor. Do need to find a place for the magnetic switch, so let me close the window. And we'll clean off a lot of this area here to put the magnetic switch in there somewhere, so that when the window's all the way down, it closes the circuit, and then when you hit the key fob twice, it'll trigger the circuit to go up. So looking at the magnetic switch, I think you use the normally closed terminal and the COM terminal, and not the normally open, but we'll see if this works. Okay, so after I disconnected these two pins, I had to reset the ECU, and to do that, all you have to do is turn your car on and use the center console button to push the window all the way down. Once it's all the way down, hold it up until it's all the way up, and then for a few more seconds, and that should reset everything. And you can test it by pushing the down button with one click to see if it goes all the way down, and then rolling it back up, and then your keyless fob should work again. And I was able to roll the window down, but there's not much room to work in here in terms of putting a magnetic switch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the battery out of the car, take these two pins out, take this bracket out, and take this plate off, and see if there's room behind here to place the magnetic switch. Maybe better than way down there somewhere, but I may be able to do it with the window up, put one element of the switch and then put the other half of the switch on the window when it's down. But again, there's just not much room to operate in there, so I'm going to look back here, because it looked like online some of the people had removed this plate to get some more room for placing that magnetic switch. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and mounted this part of the magnetic switch with the terminals onto a piece of 3/4 inch plywood scrap that I had, and put double-sided sticky tape on this side. And that's going to go all the way at the bottom here, just to the right of this black bolt. We'll go right here, which aligns with the bottom of the window bracket, which is way up here. But make sure you wire up your switch before you sticky tape it down into your tailgate. And so I have the COM terminal wired and the normally closed terminal wired up. And what I'm going to do is put a piece of sticky tape across here because I don't want to risk this shorting against the frame of the car. So we'll cover it with sticky tape, with electrical tape, remove the back side of this double-sided tape, and stick it back down in there, and then we'll go from there. Here you can see where I mounted the magnetic switch with the electrical terminals. It's basically to the back wall of the tailgate, spaced off the back with a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. It is at a slight angle, but hopefully that won't affect the magnet coming and closing and opening the circuit. And here is the bottom part of the bracket of the window. And when I roll the window down, you should see that they come pretty close together. So we're going to put the other side of the magnetic switch right up next to that and see if it closes the circuit. And I'll check it with a multimeter before I wire the rest of it up. Half of the magnetic switch, put double-sided tape up here on the top. Here's the arrow on the bottom. It's going to go in this orientation to line up with the other half of the magnetic switch. So I'm going to tape this right here. I don't know if you can see that, but tape that right here and see when the bracket's all the way down if that closes the circuit. Okay, so I mounted both sides of the magnetic switch. You can see both sides are there right now. The wires come down through here. I have it attached to the multimeter, and we'll close the window, and that should register that the circuit is closed, and it does. Okay, so now that the magnetic switch is in place, tested and works, I'm going to take these wires and stick them through this grommet here. This is in case you plan on putting the waterproof barrier back. You could poke a hole through this grommet and pull it out the center, but these wires are small enough that I'll probably just do it like that. I don't know if that's going to be waterproof, but again, I don't have my waterproof seal here anyway, so that's just a demonstration purposes. Now, if this magnetic switch falls off or stops operating from off-roading or whatnot, you could just cut these wires here and short them together, and that will be always closed. Some people actually do this mod without ever installing the magnetic switch, but I probably would have done that had I done it all over again. But magnetic switch is now in place. We'll see if I can get the rest of this stuff working. Alright, so let's hook up the magnetic switch. The COM channel will go to B9 pin 25, and it's red blue. So let's take these out again. I've already disconnected the power, the battery. To minimize the chance of electrocuting myself. And so let's tap the T-splice into B9 pin 25. So looking at it, again, starting to count from the top row, left side will be 1, 2, 3 all the way across. Second row will start with 14, go all the way to 25. So the bottom right one is this red wire with a black striping. According to the diagram, that's the right color. So let's go ahead and tap the splice in here. I'll do it away from the connector, just to give me some more room in the future. And to be honest, I've never had much luck with these T-splice connectors, but we're going to give it another shot. That is supposed to cut through the plastic, connect this metal blade to this thing. It's hard to know if that's going to work or not. So the comm channel for me is this red wire. This. Go according to plan. Okay, now the other end of the magnet switch was just connected to the normally closed and so this black wire should go to the green wire of the TR7. Alright, let's do that next. Still not a huge fan of these connectors, but this doesn't work. We'll just go the old-fashioned way. See, that came right out. Now, I gotta go get another one. so black wire on the normally closed part terminal of the magnetic switch is now connected to the green wire of the TR7. Now let's tap number B9, pin 19, which is light green with a black wire. Again, looking at it straight from here, this is 19, the bottom row, just to the left of this notch. So it is this light green wire with a black line. So we'll find a place to tap that way up here. Here it is. I don't know if that really cuts through the plastic like it's supposed to, but I guess we'll see. And that goes to the 30 terminal on your relay. This relay is labeled, so 30 is this up and down blade here. Which for me is this blue one. So we'll put those two together. Alright, and the last thing out of this B9 connector is terminal 5, or pin number 5, which should be violet with a yellow line. So again, looking at the terminals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth one from the left on the top row is this purple one right here. So, another T-splice. And this goes to 87 on the relay. So checking my labels, 87 is this one right across. According to the diagram here, 87A, which is the center blade, is not used. So for me, in this relay setup is the black wire. Okay, now we're going to hook up the 86 terminal on the relay to the blue wire on the T7. So that's this left one, and that is the white wire. So let's connect connectors to that. Okay, that's the 86 terminal of the relay, hooking that up to the blue wire on the T7. Six to blue, check. All right, let's tap into the ground wire. Ground wire is this on connector B8, pin number 3. Which is this white. It's a big white wire with a black line on it. So let's go ahead and tap up here. Hopefully that's in. Then we need 2 grounds, one from the relay, which is pin 85, which is this green one. Let me double check. Yeah, 85 is the green one. And also the black wire on the T7. So we'll put these together and feed it into the same connector. We'll see how that goes. It should work in theory. In practice, different story. Okay. Of course, that was the wrong connector because I'm an idiot. Let's try the right connector this time. All right. grounded. And finally, I think the last thing to do is tap into the B8 connector, pin number 5. Which is this blue wire with a red line in it. Another T-splice here. And that is the red wire from the T7 module. That, in theory, should be that. Let me double check everything. Got the TR7 red to the B8 pin 5 for power. Got the black wire to the ground, which is B8 pin number 3, which is the white wire with a black line. Sorry, again, the red wire from the TR7 goes to the constant 12 volt live wire, which is pin 5 on the B8 connector, and it is blue with a red stripe. And the black wire from the TR7 grounds to this B8 pin 3, which is a large white wire with a black stripe. The green wire then goes to the magnetic switch and connects to the normally closed terminal. The red wire coming back from the magnetic switch, which is connected to the COM terminal of the magnetic switch, then comes back and connects to the wire on B9 pin 25, and that is a red wire with a black stripe. Everything else on the relay, terminal 85, is grounded. Check. Pin 87 goes to the B9 connector pin 5, which is purple or violet with a yellow line. The 30 terminal goes to B9 pin 19, which is this light green with a black line. Then the terminal 86 on the relay goes to the blue wire on the TR7. Okay, that's everything. Let's reconnect the car battery and we'll see if it works. Everything's put back together. Let's see if this thing works. Good. We'll wait 5 seconds. One beep. There, easy peasy.